What's up, y'all? It's your boy, Brain Waves, back at it again. I hope all is well. Hopefully, maybe you are in Chicago. If you're not, if you are in Chicago and you're here watching this live stream, please let me know. Give me a shout in the live chat or in the comment section if you're watching the replay. Nonetheless, welcome everyone here. We're here today to talk about some very important issues. There have been a lot of distractions, and everyone is caught up with what the latest celebrity is doing or is not doing. And these are simply distractions, as I mentioned, for a second time around. And I'm saying it for a second time around because I'll say it for a third time around, just so that you understand that I'm talking about these things are distractions from what's really taking place. So what is taking place right now, what has taken place, we're going to talk about Chicago. All right. Again, shout out to all my people in Chicago. They are currently experiencing and have experienced frost quakes. That's right. You heard me. Frost quakes. Very similar to earthquakes, but not quite an earthquake, but it's called a frost quake. We'll get into that in just a second. There's also a ton of dead electric vehicles. Namely, you see they only show Tesla, but come on, folks, there's far more than Tesla. You've got Audi, Mercedes, BMW, you've got Chevy, you've got Ford, you've got Rivian. I mean, need I continue? There's so many automakers that make EVs. It's not just a Tesla thing, okay? We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about heated nuclear plant water being fed into the water system in Chicago. Somebody tell me if that's not a good thing. We're going to get into all of that. Very quickly before we do, I kindly ask that you hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so already. Please hit the notification bell as well. Okay, make sure you have your notifications turned on. If you have your notifications set to private, you will not get notified when I go live. So take the extra step on your phone, in your mobile device, or however you watch YouTube, just to make sure that notifications are on in your Chrome browsers or what have you. Otherwise, you will not get notifications. It's something you have to manually do. It's no longer an automated process, and it's something that you have to take the time out to do. I'm also a life coach and prophet of the Most High. That is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. So if you, your family members, your coworkers, your friends, your classmates, your neighbors, etc., your man, ladies, you need me to talk to your man, send him my way. Fellas, you need me to talk to your woman, send her my way. And I can talk to any of you all via video chat, video recordings, meaning you or them can send me questions and I can provide a video containing the answers, as well as phone conversations. And if you're in the ATL area, we can also talk in person. Check out the description box below on how to do that. Thank you very much. You can also support the work by hitting the PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. That's also in the description box, and you'll see some information at the bottom of the screen. What's up, Delta Roots? What's going on? Pleasure to have you here. How you doing, Karen? What's up? Karen's from New Jersey. So Karen, I expect you to be an active participant. I know this is not Chicago. I know you're in Jersey, but you're still in the North and you can understand and relate to some of this going on. All right. So I hope that you're able to chime in if you can. What's up, Maryland? What's going on, Carol? All right. So let's get into this. First, we're going to talk about the Chicago frost quakes. Okay. This is just, man, this is crazy. Right? This is absolutely crazy. And make sure you share my content out to your friends, okay, your family, and your conversations. I tell you, all you got to do is go to Brainwaves Advice Topics, LLC, and you will be able to pull all this stuff up, okay? So, like I said, first, we're going to get into the frost quakes. All right, let's get this on the screen. Give me 1 second. I'll just let y'all jam out real quick. You know, we're going to do it like this. Let's just do it like this because I want y'all to be able to see. All right, so let's go ahead and talk about this. This is the frost Quakes. You can see the temperature, at least in O'Hare. But anyway, let's go.
Bang, shaking ground. It seems like a mini earthquake, but it's called a frostquake.
Today, we are hearing about them across Chicago, and our Tara Molina went to the experts to learn more.
Turns out these freezing weather conditions are perfect for frostquakes, but it's about more than just the cold. Illinois State climatologist Trent Ford explained why we're experiencing these right now. It's the kind of video that makes you shiver just watching it. Safe to say, it's cold in Chicago right now. And while we've experienced sub-zero temperatures before, the recent weather phenomena don't start and end with the steam coming off our lake and river. Check this out. Did you hear it? Listen again. That's video posted to Facebook of something called a frostquake.
These things are not dangerous.
But they are.
Okay, I want to pause right there. They said these things are not dangerous. Okay, let me just take a quick pause, y'all. I gotta, we gotta talk about this. They said these things are not dangerous. Yet, if any of this caused any type of structural integrity damage, right? This could be to the ground, this could be to buildings, etc., etc. Even when the temperatures rise, those damages may present themselves. They can be dangerous, but they want you to believe that none of this is dangerous. If you hear any pops that are not natural, they're not the typical age creaks to your foundations and your buildings. This can take place with your roof. I mean, from the rooter to the tutor, as they say, right? This literally could take place. None of this is safe, but they're wanting you to believe that it's safe. All right, let's get on back to the video.
Are interesting. So with several reports of them across the city, we turned to Illinois State climatologist Trent Ford to learn more.
So that scientific term for frostquake is called a cryoseism.
I think we'll stick with frostquake. Turns out the weather we're experiencing now, it's the perfect rare recipe for them.
We need the wet conditions, near saturated conditions, and then we need that cold spell to poof really quickly. When the soils are frozen and the water within them freezes and expands, because water expands as it freezes, what that can do is actually crack or fracture that frozen ground. And that can create the experience of either small shaking, some cases loud booms.
In some...
Okay, so you heard what he said, right, about cracking and shaking the ground. Okay, obviously you can hear loud booms. This is what a lot of people in Chicago are hearing right now. This may be a phenomenon that some of you may be experiencing in other regions in the north. If you are, please let me know in the live chat or in the comment section if you're watching the replay. Nonetheless, they want you to think that nothing's wrong with this, but what happens if any of this presents an issue down the road? I mean, any changing of the foundation and structure, that can present a problem. And right now, this example is showing you the ground, but as I mentioned earlier, this takes place with the actual buildings themselves. So let's just go ahead and continue, because this is absolutely crazy. This is absolutely crazy, crazy, crazy. What's up, Arnold? I'm so glad that you're able to catch alive. I appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much for your support. All right, let's get back to this video here.
Experience of either small shaking, some cases loud booms.
In some cases, just a loud pop. So if you see a little shake or hear something unusual, nothing to worry about.
Okay, you see what they keep repeating. There's nothing for you to worry about. You have nothing to worry about. Generally, when the news and the media tells you to not worry, you need to have the opposite reaction. Right? You need to be concerned. This is something of concern because as it stands, Chicago and the North and much of America has already gotten this crazy cold weather, right? There's another system that's already moving in as I'm speaking. So this is about to be a double whammy. And what's going to happen with you have the cracks at first? It's not like it's going to heat up and that's it. You're going to have more. because this weather is not going away just yet. It's coming in again. So what's going to happen if, let's say, that crack intensifies, that crack to your roof, that crack to your building, that crack to your foundation, et cetera, et cetera? I mean, you don't know where this could take place because this impacts metals, woods, all types of materials that we house ourselves with, right? So this is alluding to bigger things that's going on. And this is talking about cracks and quakes and our foundation and the things that we involve ourselves around being shaken up, right? And these are the real meat and potato messages that I want y'all to pay attention to. It's not so much what you see about these celebrities, Cat Williams and TD Jakes. And I know I post some things sometimes to give you all references about things to better yourselves, right? To move you closer to the Most High. But most of the time I try not to because it's repetitive, and what they try to do is even get truth speakers. They try to get a lot of content creators where the only content essentially that you'll see them covering would be celebrity stuff. And then what makes them look any different than the gossip celebrity content creators, right? They're supposed to be speaking to you about truth. And I'm not saying they don't speak to you about truth in their content. Many of them do. But what I'm saying is that they'll get you and others more focused on the latest celebrity news that's going to happen so that they can report on it, right? Versus actually reporting on what we need to pay attention to. I like what Arnold says here. I'm going to pause real quick before I move on. Arnold says, Isaiah 13, verse 9. Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, cruel both with wrath and fierce anger, to lay the land desolate. He shall destroy the sinners thereof out of it. I mean, exactly. I know people say brainwaves, you're reading too deep into this, but I'm not. See, I'm gifted to see these things to warn you all about what's going on. I told you we're going to start with 2024 with the bang. We're literally having bangs with these frost quakes and these news stories and everything being revealed, et cetera, et cetera. So this is going to continue. And you should be concerned about what's going on because this is a big issue and it exposes the foundations that we involve ourselves in, not just literally the buildings and the ground that we walk on, but the social foundations, the family foundations, the structure in your community and your jobs. Maybe you need to change exactly the groups that you belong with. Maybe you need to change your job or the route that you're going in. This is what this is all about. It's about these changes. We're experiencing cracks, booms, bangs. It may wake you up at night just like it did with the Chicago residents. And we're getting another round of this. Right? This reinforces what I'm trying to say. Another round as I speak of this weather's coming in. So we're going to see more of this continue. And we're not even out of the winter season, right? We're just now in, you could say, the brutal. I like to call it the back slap. It's that backhand, right? This is where we getting like that back slap. So this is a serious issue and I want y'all to pay attention to it. I'm going to continue to educate you all on what it is so you can share with your friends and family in your social media groups, etc. I'll continue to let this gentleman speak since he's given us the science behind what it is. Let's let him go.
Maybe some folks get startled awake, but we can enjoy what's just an interesting scientific phenomenon that doesn't happen all that often.
I'm told you typically...
Now, you heard what he said. This is a scientific phenomenon that doesn't happen that often, coming from a climatologist. If this doesn't happen that often and it's happening, that should tell you that what we're experiencing is not normal. And oftentimes, they want you to think that the changes that are taking place and things that we're experiencing are just simple, normal occurrences, and they're not, right? They're not normal occurrences. They want you to become desensitized to it and not pay attention to it and be distracted by celebrity news. What's happening to the latest celebrity? Who got knocked off? Who's breaking up? Who's exposing what? What's going on in this industry? Stuff that we already know and we've been talking about really for the longest, right? But they want y'all just to focus on that, okay? So that you miss the boat and you miss the mark and you miss what you really need to focus on, right? So anyway, I'm gonna let him ride on out, or this newscaster right here.
See or feel these frost quakes during the coldest part of the day. You can read more about them in the story that's up on our website right now.
Okay, so I'm gonna pull up another video here. This video here is going to explain exactly what these frost quakes are. Ice quake, some people might say it is a slang, but let's go and take a look at this, because this will explain to you all exactly what it is. What's up, Young Greasy? Salute to you too. All right, so let's get this on the screen, because I need y'all to understand what's going on.
Meteorologist Larry Mowry. Did you hear a few loud booms last night? Well, they could have been ice quakes. And what this is...
Now, I just have to add this. Okay, some of you are going to think that I'm tripping, right? Some of y'all are going to be like, okay, Brainwaves, what are you talking about? The way that this newscaster just spoke, and he was talking about some of you heard some loud booms, and he said it could be ice quakes. I understand what he's saying, but what I'm getting is, I'm wondering if any of the Chicago, and while we're at it, any residents in the north may experience loud booms that may be something else that they could be setting off and or doing that will be hidden under the guise of, oh, that's just a frost quake. That's all. Oh, that your building shook. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Oh, your building collapsed. The structural integrity failed, or this happened over here. Oh yeah. It was just a frost quake. That happens. Yeah, it's so cold, right? I don't know. I think I'm touching on something, and I'm tapping into something there. So don't be surprised if we get any news and any information of something happening, and then you hear the residents come out perhaps and say, hey, they said it was just frost quakes, but this actually took place, and or they got proof, or they got videos of this stuff taking place. I don't know, man. This is not a normal occurrence. We just heard from a climatologist say this is not a normal occurrence. This is not something we have every year, every winter, right? This is crazy, man. Let me run this back, okay? Man.
Hi there, I'm meteorologist Larry Mowry. Did you hear a few loud booms last night? Well, they could have been ice quakes. Just Larry Mowry. Did you hear a few loud booms last night? Well, they could have been ice quakes. Just Larry Mowry. Did you hear a few loud booms last night? Well, they could have been ice quakes. And what this is, and we did experience some last night here around northern Illinois, is that when we get this really extreme cold air to move over the land like we had last night, and like we'll get again tonight, where temperatures drop 20 to 30 below, in the ground beneath the snowpack, there's liquid water still. And when that really cold air comes in over top of that snowpack, it can penetrate the snowpack and reach into the ground. So that water that's in the ground can freeze rapidly and form ice, and that expands the soil really quickly. And as that expansion happens, it makes loud booming sounds, almost like an earthquake sound. But it's
okay. So somebody tell me if you think that in the live chat. Somebody let me know if you think that this is like a safe occurrence. Somebody please let me know, right? If you think that the ground expanding that much because there's so much water in the ground. Somebody tell me if you think that this is just okay. This is something you shouldn't raise concern with. Because again, they're trying to pacify this and make people think it's not a big deal, just so no one asks about it. I have yet to really see if any other content creators talking about this, right? Only people I've seen talk about this is the news. I already looked. I went on YouTube. I mean, do I need to actually pull up the YouTube search? Let's do that, right? Because I like to put, as they say, put the money where your mouth is, right? Let's take a look. Like, you would think people would be talking about this all day long in some form or fashion. You would just really think that's what they talk about, right? All right, let me get this. I want to get this on the screen real quick because we need to see this. Okay. Let's make this one full screen real quick. Just give me one moment. Make sure y'all get the likes up when you come here. Okay. So right now, what we're looking at is, if you see, you can type in on YouTube Chicago frostquakes, right? So you can see it's showing you like the news here. You see like CBS Chicago, WGN News, ABC 7, again, KSNT News. Again, all these news outlets, right? If you see anything right now, it's news outlets. Right? That's all I see. Let's do this. Let me do this real quick, because I want to really give y'all the fruits and the evidence and see if anybody's actually talking about this stuff. What's up, Sister Love? I mean, you would think people would be like going viral asking, well, what is this? What's going on? Okay, I want to check some of this out. All right, so let's see. I'm in. Well, it doesn't matter. Let's go ahead and let this ride. Okay, so let's switch over here to TikTok. Okay, so right now we're in TikTok. This one says so this was the person, the resident, who actually caught this on camera. I don't. Oh, I just heard it was just. Psh. But this was from Kat Baptista. Okay, so she posted this, and this is where the news got it. Let's look, because this should be post all over. This is, again, the news, CBS Chicago. Let me see if she's.
I learned a new word today. That word is frost quakes. Apparently, they are what happens when water underground freezes so rapidly that since ice expands, it shifts the earth. And
okay, so basically, she's just talking about she learned about this, right? She didn't even know about it, but she learned about it. What I'm trying to look is see if we have any actual residents reporting this. If you come down here, you don't even see that. I mean, someone here put frostquakes. I don't want to play that because that's music. They're reporting basically what the news said. Okay.
We don't have hurricanes, we don't have alligators. We don't have earthquakes, we don't have hurricanes, we don't have alligators. We don't have earthquakes, we don't have earthquakes.
So she said we don't have earthquakes, but guess what, sweetie pie? Guess what, Miss Audie? You got frostquakes. You got frostquakes. I didn't know if you knew that, sweetie, right? They got frostquakes, right? I didn't know that either, but I'm just saying this is what they call it. Let me continue to scroll down though, because I don't really see it anything, right? I don't see anyone talking about like frostquakes. It's just crazy. I don't see. Wait a minute. So what's this? Okay, somebody said 3.6 magnitude earthquake in Illinois. No, this is something different. This was back in November. Wait a minute. Let me just make sure this is not.
Quake in north central Illinois, and this is where it happened on the U.S. Geological Survey website. It was a magnitude 3.6 centered about a mile southeast of Standard, Illinois, which is southwest of LaSalle. We received an email from someone in Spring Valley that everything shook around 4:45 a.m. So far, there are no reports of any damage, but we will keep you updated throughout the morning.
Yo, okay, what if there's a real earthquake that takes place in Chicago, but they say it's just a frostquake? The point that I'm making is no one's talking about this right now, and this may be the only video besides the news and media outlets that's reporting this, okay? I mean, I'm just saying, it is what it is, right? It is what it is. So we're going to get back to the video. This is just wild, man. This is wild, but we'll hear what the newscaster has to say. It's just absolutely crazy, man.
It's the booming of the ground expanding as the water rapidly freezes. I would anticipate hearing some more booms overnight tonight as we get more temperatures down to 20 to 30 below overnight tonight. I'm meteorologist Larry Mowry. Go to our website, abc7chicago.com, for the very latest on this dangerous cold snap.
Okay, so he just said we can anticipate to hear more. Let me know what y'all think in the live chat in the comment section. This is wild, man. This is absolutely wild. This is absolutely wild. Yeah, look what Arnold says before we move on. Isaiah 29 verse 6 says, "Thou shalt be visited of the Lord of hosts with thunder and with earthquake and with great noise, with storm and tempest and the flame of the devouring fire." Seems to me like we're having storms right now, right? And it's still technically an earthquake. It's a frost quake. Like, all of these things are signs, and it just seems like no one's talking about it, right? God is giving us all types of signs of things that are going on and things to come, but nobody cares. No one pays attention to it because all they care about is the latest celebrity gossip, right? Or like the silliness of the brick lady who scammed a lot of people out of the GoFundMe money. And I know about these stories. I just choose sometimes not to cover it because GoFundMe has been a scam for a long time, right? I care not to get into it. Yes, it's helped certain people and certain causes. It has done some good, but there's been so many scams on it. I don't even know why people, for the most part, really talk about it, or should I say participate in it. And that's why you don't really hear much people talking about it anymore. Y'all remember there was a point in time, right? Y'all remember there was a point in time when there was a point in time when GoFundMe was just like a conversation piece out of just about everyone. Everywhere you turn around, you heard it on the news or someone was talking about it or doing it, right? Well, we don't hear that anymore. So anyway, what I want to do is we're going to switch gears. Okay, we're going to move over to these EV cars. All right. Now, mind you, this did impact regular gas vehicles. So I do want to bring up this message because I know a lot of people just automatically assume that, I'm driving a gas vehicle. I will never experience any issues. And I just want you to know that's not necessarily the case. Just because you're driving a gas vehicle does not mean you're immune to issues. There's all types of things and all types of what you could call a perfect storm of situations that can impact all vehicles, right? We've seen this in all types of movies. Day After Tomorrow, just the right temperature drop. It can bring all vehicles. It doesn't matter whether you have gas or electric, period, right? But we're going to talk about EVs because a lot of people don't understand EVs. It reminds me of the same type of conversation when it comes to talking about pit bulls. A lot of people don't understand dogs. They don't understand breeds, right? They just go off of what the news and media feeds them, and then people automatically have that fear in there. They fear monger us. They try to control what we think and what we do and what we believe in. And that's why you got to listen to the Most High. Most of the dogs are fine, but they'll have you to think because one person's crazy or one situation where they're leaving out certain details to clickbait you into watching the news and media, think that, oh no, it was a pit bull and this, right? When you actually look at the statistics, you have dogs like Chihuahuas attack people more than pit bulls. That's literally the facts. You can literally look it up. But they want to glorify certain things because it's not cool to find out, oh, a little Chihuahua did this or a little Yorkie or whatever, right? Anyway, the same goes with EVs. You have a lot of people that are anti-EV. Me as an auto enthusiast, I fall somewhere maybe in the middle. I understand the need for gas and I understand the need for electric. And I also understand the deliberate sabotage, the political sabotage as well, to stop EVs from being what they could be. The technology is there, things are there, but they're not going to allow it to come to pass unless they fight tooth and nail. It is what it is. And this is what's stopping a lot of the range when it comes to EVs, batteries with EVs. There's technology galore. They got EVs that can far surpass gas vehicles. They got EVs that literally can charge themselves. But do you really think they're going to put that out? No, because they want to sabotage the whole movement. And a lot of people like, no, I don't want this. And it's just so much politics that is prohibiting our technological advancement. Again, that's a whole conversation to be debated. But right now, let's take a watch and a listen to this particular video. What's up, Michelle? Good to have you here. I'm glad you're here. Make sure y'all share this video. Like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. $1, $5, $1 million is all greatly appreciated, right? All right, so let's go ahead with this video.
Certainly posed a flurry of problems for people across the region, including challenges for electric vehicle owners. Thanks for joining us tonight at 10. I'm Evan Forrester.
And I'm Amy Lutz. Fox 43's Ryan Yee is live at the charging station in York County, York Township, York County, that is, with how EV drivers are dealing with the frigid temps and the advice that experts have, right?
And I want to add, a lot of people do not understand what you're supposed to do when you own an EV. Let me just add this. You have a lot of non-educated people just picking, oh, I'll just pick up an electric vehicle and I live in this climate. I'll just go on and everything's fine. Just like anything, you need to know what you get into. For instance, if you buy a sports car, right? Let me just make this plain. If you go buy a sports car, a high-end sports car, right? You're running some of the fastest times in the quarter mile, 0 to 60, all of that, right? You cannot expect that sports car to necessarily get the best of gas mileage. Maybe it will, maybe it won't, but you can't expect that, right? Especially if you're approaching supercar, hypercar performance levels. You cannot expect that same sports car to be able to seat 7. I mean, they do have vehicles like, even though they discontinued it, but for instance, the Dodge Durango Hellcat is seat 7. Boom, same thing. The Cadillac Escalade V, the supercharged, like 682 horsepower. They have big vehicles that can seat people, right? But for the most part, what I'm saying is, if you buy a certain type of vehicle, like if you buy an off-road vehicle, or should I say you buy a vehicle that's meant to be on road and you try to go off-road with it, you can't complain when you're unable to go off-road. It's not designed for that, right? Same thing goes for EVs. If you buy EV, you need to know what's required to have that type of vehicle. Same thing, if you have a sports car, you go through tires and brakes faster in this high performance, you can't get mad and say, well, how come these brakes and tires don't last like my Corolla? You're not putting down the same power. You're not doing. So there's just a little bit of education that people need to understand when it comes to EVs and their climate. And what you're going to see is a lot of people don't understand what's going on. Okay. With that being said, let me get back to the video. I just had to add that because that is a very important piece. I understand some people want to sabotage EVs. I already mentioned that. I understand. We'll get a little bit in that conversation in a second. But back to the news video.
Hey, good night.
Yeah, some EV drivers are finding that it takes longer and more frequent to charge because of the colder temperatures. In fact, the EV batteries are struggling to hold that full charge. Experts tell me that because of the cold weather, when temperatures hit 0 degrees, EV batteries can lose up to 10 times the amount of power.
Now, what he just said is something that when you go to a dealership, or should I say a stealership, right, to buy an EV, most of the salespeople are not educated on EVs. So when it comes to this, right? Okay, I don't know what's going on. It's like they're trying to mess with the stream. Can y'all still hear me? Like they're trying to okay, it looks like everything's fine. Like they're trying to mess with the stream. I'm having weird stuff take place. Okay, most owners, or should I say most dealerships and the salespeople are not educated when it comes to EVs. Again, I said most, not all, right? Obviously there's some, but most of them don't. They don't know what to tell you if you drive your vehicle in this type of environment. If you need to do this, you need to do that. They just sell you the EV and you just go, right? And that's the actual dealerships. Now, what if you buy EV used? What if you get into this Uber and Lyft movement? And that was a big issue of what we saw in Chicago. Most of those drivers were Uber and Lyft drivers. I'm going to get into that now, okay? So a lot of people just get an EV and think about it as if it's a gas vehicle, an ICE, an internal combustion engine vehicle. It's not, right? It's electric. It's not gas. You can't think with the gas mindset. And the gas vehicle, you're like, I'll just drive and drive. And when I get low on gas, I'll go to the gas station, charge it up. Not charge it up, fill it up, right? You can't do that with an EV. When it comes to an EV, you're supposed to stay charged up, and that superchargers are only supposed to be used if you're making road trips. They're not supposed to be your primary source of charging. That means if you can't charge at home or if you can't charge at work, you don't need to own an EV. Just point blank period. If you own an EV and you're trying to get around that, and this is a long-term situation for you, not a temporary situation where you're just using supercharging temporarily, you're going to basically find yourself up a creek. And this is what happened to many owners that had to learn a hard lesson about how the battery degrades in extreme cold, extreme heat. It retains the majority of what you need. I mean, most people have shown they've drawn in negative whatever degrees, charged in negative whatever degrees, all across the world and have not had issues. But when you have political governments and movements that are trying to sabotage the infrastructure of EVs and not allowing even commercial use to satisfy what needs to be done, you wonder why we're in this creek. They want these things to happen so that the general public can look and see, I told you they suck. See, I don't want to go there. See, right? And you got to look at both sides of the coin. You can't just be one-sided. So if you look at it from that perspective, then you like, see, every time I turn around, I see a Tesla sabotage, just like the pit bull conversation. Every time I turn around on the news, I hear about a pit bull. I don't want to own a pit bull. Or you have a pit bull. Let me stay away from you, right? Same thing with EVs. They want to sabotage it so that if somebody was thinking about getting one, or if you do have one, you don't know the proper way for you to conduct yourself, right? All right, anyway, let me continue the story, because I'm going to get into some more things here.
Electric vehicles and bitterly cold weather is something that just doesn't mix.
You can tell the inner battery does go out faster.
It's complicated because, I have to take time out of my day, sometimes every other day just to charge and, refill my battery.
Electric vehicle owners across central.
So y'all see that's an Audi right there, right? I just want y'all to see it's not just Tesla, right? Tesla has the best supercharging network in the whole entire world. But they'll have you to believe that this is only a Tesla issue so that you can have people that are anti-Tesla come up in here. But instead of being, if you're going to be anti-anything, you need to be anti-EV. If you're going to be anything against this, because all EVs are experiencing this. It's not just a Tesla thing. As you can see, this is an Audi on the screen. Look at the rings on the hood, right? On the circle. Anyway, on a grill. Let's go.
Pennsylvania are facing decreased battery life and increased charging times amid the cold weather. Experts say it's the dramatic effect the cold has on EVs' lithium-ion battery.
The chemistry in the battery will slow down almost exponentially with decreasing temperature. The decrease in performance, especially in power delivering, is very dramatic.
Experts add battery range for EVs can be reduced by up to 30% in the cold, with charging times for some drivers doubling or
Now, I want to mention something. You also lose gas range in the cold for gas engines. Let's not get it twisted. For you to run the seat warmers and you have to run the heat on, defrosters, some other creature comforts that we use. We do lose a good percentage as well in gas. Don't think that because maybe you can get 500 miles on a tank when you say are in spring or summer weather and open road, don't think you're going to get that same range in your gas tank in a storm, in a blizzard, right? Gas mileage definitely suffers, right? It definitely goes down. Let me show you this. Let me show you what the mileage is and how they try to make EVs sound real bad. Because, see, I got to show you this because there's two sides to the coin. Okay? Some people would think that this is just a straight up like, oh, well, EVs lose 30%. There's no, or correction, up to 30%. Now, it depends on the EV. Certain brands are better than others. Tesla is one of the better ones because you can precondition the battery before you even jump in there, before you leave wherever you are. If it's your home, your job, friends, this house where the store before you get in the back, so you'll lose less range. But in any case, check this out. It says cold weather and winter driving conditions can significantly reduce fuel economy. Notice I said fuel economy, right? Because they want you to see EVs as doom and gloom, getting a lot of people on a bandwagon because they know it's popular, right? So we're talking about gas engines, gas vehicles here, right? It says fuel economy tests. And this is from the Department of Energy, right? Fuel economy tests showed that in city driving, a conventional gasoline's car mileage is roughly 15% lower at 20 degrees Fahrenheit than it would be at 77%. It can drop as much as 24%, right, for short 3 to 4 mile trips. What I'm trying to show you is that 24% is very close to the 30% that we saw with Tesla and other EVs. Let me just put both of these on the screen real quick, because I need y'all to understand this. They want y'all to make it seem like you can't, like, you can lose 24% and you lose 30. So what I'm trying to say is that the percentage loss is essentially almost the same, right? Your overall mileage might be less in an EV. It depends on the range of that EV, and it depends on the range of the gas vehicle. Some gas vehicles get good range. Some, they got real small gas tanks. They may not be able to go that far. But the point that I want you to make is they're trying to make it seem like it's doom and gloom. Like, oh no, I'm losing as much as 30% in the range. That's the same thing you're going to lose with a gas vehicle. And you can't fix stupid, right? I'm just trying to break this down. You cannot fix stupid. So the same common sense and education that you need to use with a gas vehicle, you have to also use that with an EV. If you fill up your tank and first of all, if you don't need to be out in the weather, why are you out there? I'm going to tell you why these Uber drivers were out here in just a second. But if you don't need to be out there, why are you out there? Number two, you might need to plan to gas up sooner versus later. You may run into traffic. You may get stuck. You might want to fill up, even if, say, if you have a full tank of gas and you drive a little bit and you have to be out there, you come to a gas station, you burn up a quarter tank. Maybe you want to top it back off again, unless you're heading home or something, or maybe you have half a tank, top it back off because you don't know what you might encounter. Same thing goes with EVs, but again, you can't fix stupid. Anyway, let's get back to the video.
In the cold, with charging times for some drivers doubling or even tripling.
Now, with that charging time, I want to mention that if you don't precondition an EV's battery, then the charging time is going to take a lot longer. That's one advantage that Tesla has. If you're going to charge at a public or even at home or even at work, the battery will be preconditioned. So as soon as you pull up, boom, you plug it up, it's good to go. Your time's reduced. A lot of the other EVs, even on a sunny day, and this is what they don't tell you, even on a sunny, warm day, they take longer, right? They'll take you an hour, 45 minutes. So of course, if it takes you about an hour on a normal day, of course it's gonna increase. But there's so many other things going on with this story. Let me just continue.
Current battery technology has trouble combating the issue. However, experts say innovative solutions should be coming soon.
Scientific solutions is already existing. It takes time for the auto industry to implement practical solutions and start to provide viable product to our customers.
You heard what he said. The solutions are there. The auto industry takes time to catch up. What that is that's the politics. The politics don't want this to succeed because they have a lot of money invested in oil and fossil fuel and everything that's been built up with that. And if we were to switch to EVs, they lose a lot of money. Don't get it twisted, y'all. This has nothing to do with a lot of the other stuff that you hear. I mean, depending on what it is, it could have something to do with it. I mean, that's a case-by-case basis. I can't just blanket statement say it, but a lot of the agenda, the political agenda, has to do with money, right? They don't want to give up that money. Like, just imagine if everyone right now, or let's say we wake up tomorrow and everyone was in an EV, there would be virtually no need for gas. They would lose so much money. They would lose so much politics and political pull and all this stuff. Why would we be fighting wars overseas, right? Why would we be having wars in Iraq and fighting over all these oil industries in these areas? Just stop and think about it. There would be no need, right? Because everybody's using an electric vehicle for the most part. And what people forget is they're like, oh, it takes fossil fuel to power these things. Not necessarily. Yes, we use that source of energy, but there's so much power in solar. They don't want to go to that because how are they going to monetize solar power? Like, y'all got to understand what time it is. And that's why I'm trying to break these things down and wake y'all up. How can they really monetize solar power? Like, maybe they could require all of the solar devices that we do, and we have to tap into a power company or something. But what if you're able to create these devices separate and you can power your own things separate? How are they going to be able to monetize that? And they want to be able to monetize and control everything. So they're trying to keep us from using solar power and certain things until they have such a control on solar power. Then they would allow that to come out. And then EVs would be completely fueled and powered. First of all, they can self-generate themselves. They already have the technology out. They just don't want to release it to us. They already got EVs like out there. They can do that, like prototypes and stuff. I'm trying to like reinforce a point here. It's all about control. And so while a lot of people say, haha, look at these EVs. Yeah, death to EVs. I'm glad that they're done. I'm glad that they're getting stuck. Little do you know, you're also shooting yourself in your own foot. Because you're also stopping your own freedom and your own ability to change, because there's a lot that goes into this particular source of power. It's beyond vehicles and our transportation, right? I mean, for instance, one of the most modern devices we use is our cell phones. Everyone uses it around the world. Everyone has one for the most part, right? You got a cell phone and it's powered by a battery. Yet you want to sabotage the whole battery industry, or you say, oh, it's okay for me to have my phone. It's so much going on, and I just want y'all to understand this is a deeper thing that's going on, and we're being sabotaged in so many different ways that it looks like it's one thing when it's actually something else, right? The reason why they're allowing the news media to just keep covering this stuff and showing this is because there's so much financial interest in this. There's so much financial backing from fossil fuel companies, right? It is what it is. Let me continue the story. The guy said the technology's here. Let's go.
But I believe in 4 to 5 years, this problem will go away.
In the meantime,
so he said in the next 4 to 5 years, this problem will go away. It's 2024. Let's just say 5 years. It'll be 2029. Isn't that close to pretty much 85 or 95, whatever the percentage is of electric vehicles being the main source of transportation, being in use? Isn't this in alignment with that time frame and that goal, right? Just saying.
Experts say from preheating the battery to ensuring a full charge overnight, it's all about preparation.
Now, how are you going to ensure a full charge overnight if you don't have a way to charge at your house or wherever you're staying? And if you don't have a way to charge at your house or where you're staying, you might have a bigger problem. Again, superchargers was only meant while you're driving on the road. Your battery's already warm. You just charge and you keep going. It never was designed to be a gas station, right? And that's what I keep trying to tell people. People that don't have EVs, that've never experienced an EV, that's not an auto head like I am, think that supercharging stations are gas stations. No, it's not. You're only supposed to be going there on the road. And I blame a lot of people that drive for Uber and rideshare and Lyft and all this who are not educated and don't understand that. They sit and use these pumps because they want to hog all the time on the road. They want to stay on the road for 12 hours plus. And I get it. They're trying to make their money. But you got to understand, at some point in time, you also have to use wisdom. Right? Let's continue. I'm going to get into this.
So a lot of it is just kind of basic, prep work to do before you make a trip.
See?
It's just a little bit extra steps, but it'll make a world of difference in terms of your usability of your car.
Before breakthrough solutions is coming along, I would advise drivers and customers right now to be well prepared for these kind of winter conditions.
But for some EV owners, the extra time and effort is worth the change to electric.
I definitely think, the sacrifice is worth it. I definitely spend less money in charging than I do on a gas vehicle.
It's definitely worth the sacrifice. We won't go back.
So do you hear what they said? They will not go back. And this is what some people don't understand. See, it's like if you've never tried something, you don't know what you're missing. Y'all have ever heard that saying? If you never tried it, you never know what you're missing, right? So a lot of people haven't tried EVs. I mean, obviously some have, but a lot of people haven't. If you have a way to charge at home, you see the thousands of dollars you're saving, that could allow you to launch a business instead of putting all that money in your tank and paying for a bunch of repairs and doing this and doing that. You could save that money and funnel it somehow. Maybe you could pay for something you've been trying to pay for, do the things you need to do. You could put some money up in the savings. You can have investment accounts. You could do all types of things, right? And the whole your battery's gonna die thing, they've pretty much perfected that for the most part. Most of the time, it's rare that it happens these days now. If you have an older EV, that might be a different story. But it's no different than having a gas vehicle. There's plenty of brand new gas vehicles that just break down. You got to get engines replaced, transmissions replaced, all types of stuff. And you better hope it's under warranty. The same thing, just like a battery. Like, people act like gas vehicles don't break down. Think about how many recalls and how many new gas vehicles break down on us, right? Right? People seem to forget that. They get so consumed with their flesh that they make it seem like gas vehicles are perfect and we don't have any issues with them. Right? I mean, you may have a reliable vehicle. I'm not saying your particular vehicle or vehicles aren't, or mine for that conversation. But overall, there's a lot of problems with gas vehicles, both new and old. There's a lot of issues, and it costs people a lot of money. And some of them you fix, and you have this, you have that. You don't have those types of expenses with electric. The battery is the main thing for the most part. And if you get one that is reliable and you get it under warranty, that's on you to be smart. Same thing with a gas vehicle. You better get that gas vehicle under some type of warranty or know a mechanic or something, right? You got to exercise the same type of wisdom across the board is what I'm trying to say. This is essentially, you see two people said they're not going to go back. Now I want to show another video or two and we're going to switch gears. I'm just going to let the video ride.
By now, you've likely seen this video. Teslas in the Chicago area with dead or low batteries because of the cold. This is just one of the many issues we're facing getting around during this cold snap. CBS 2's Sabrina Franza took some car questions to the experts at AAA and a local mechanic.
More and more cars file in, all dealing with the impacts of this bitter cold. The most popular problem, a dead battery.
You just pop the hood, plug it in, and the car should start right up.
Bill DeMaio is jump-starting a car. His staff has been doing that over and over for the past 48 hours.
Now, he's been jump-starting a bunch of dead cars, right? A lot of these cars that this gentleman here is talking about is gas cars. So while a lot of people are just sitting there laughing like, ha, 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 look at you stupid EVs, you're stuck on the road. Did anybody think about the number of gas vehicles that can't crank? I don't care if they got engine block heaters or not. If a battery's dead, it don't matter how hot the engine is, you can't crank it. Nobody's talking about that, right? And the same way you can get those going, depending on who you have, you could get an EV going, but most of the time, because most people call to request to have their vehicle towed, what's going to happen? If you call to have your vehicle towed, or someone calls to have your vehicle towed, guess what's going to happen? A tow truck's going to show up and tow it. Now, some of the tow trucks actually, especially I know with Tesla, actually have battery packs to charge your vehicle if you're stuck on the road. It's another, like, there's so much more going on with these stories. There's so much deeper layers of what this is. And I just see the comment sections and I just laugh at the mindset of people. Right? But these are gas vehicles, ICE vehicles, internal combustion engine vehicles that are dead. They can't crank in the cold. They got stranded too. I mean, dude got a shop of them. He said they've been working on tons of them for 48 hours. And this is only one of the many shops in Chicago, let alone across the entire North and wherever else. You don't think that tons of gas vehicles just die out on you? But see, they don't want to tell you that. They just want to make it sound like a gas vehicle is just going to crank regardless all the time. You're not going to have any issues. There's no guarantee. Let's go.
The cars have been coming in frozen. We've had to start cars for people, jump starting them, help them get in and out of vehicles. Sometimes the actual doors are frozen on the car.
His business.
Now you heard that. He said sometimes the doors are frozen on the cars. But I thought that only happens with Tesla and EVs, right? I thought that's when that only happens. Even though you can go into your phone app and it has a thing to like pop the whole door open without using the handle. I mean, if anything, that's actually better than a regular gas car, because a gas car, you don't have things for the most part that could just pop your door open in the app. If your door is frozen shut and it's locked, that's it. You're stuck, right? Anyway, let's go.
This is booming as the temperature stays below freezing.
It's always important to have free towing on the insurance policy. That way, if you do ever get stuck in a situation like that, you can always call.
They can wash cars inside, though he had a tip for those keeping their cars outside overnight.
If you could always put like a towel over the windshield and with the doors, close it in. And then in the morning, you just open the doors and you can pull the towel right off.
So see what the little tips that he gave? There's a lot of practical tips that you just have to exercise in these type of environments, right? This is what I'm trying to say, whether you have gas or electric or gas, right? Just some basic tips that you could do. Same thing with keeping gas in your vehicle, making sure your vehicle's in working order, or seeing if you can store it somewhere or put an engine heater, do something, right? Cover it up. There's stuff that he said, practical things that can be done, right? But people don't do that, right? They just don't take practical steps. And this is what I'm talking about here. And this is why I'm trying to get y'all to understand in this example. Let's continue.
And you actually prevent ice from coming onto the windshield at all.
60% of what the work our tow operators are doing are dead batteries, flat tires, or engine-related issues.
Okay, everything that they just said, 60% of what they're doing has everything to do with gas vehicles, not electric vehicles. 60%. But if you believe the article, they'll have you to believe that no gas vehicles got stuck on the roads or stuck in their parking lots or wherever they were. They'll make you think that it was 60% electric vehicles. And you only had like these 2 charging locations that had these issues. It wasn't every single charging location across Chicago, right? So I'm just trying to bring this up because they're in telling you the truth, they're deceiving you. And this is a big thing that a lot of these celebrities have been doing, and a lot of the news information, they don't give you the full truth unless you sit there and break it down, right? 60% of what the tow trucks companies have been dealing with in Chicago have been gas vehicles, not electric, right? So all your little electric jokes, you might need to think twice, because 60% is the majority out of 100 last time I checked. Let's go.
Molly Hart from Triple.
They're doing are dead batteries. 60% of what the work our tow operators are doing are dead batteries, flat tires, or engine-related issues. 60% of what the work our tow
coming onto the windshield at all.
60% of what the work our tow operators are doing are dead batteries, flat tires, or engine-related issues.
Molly Hart from AAA was seeing the same trends. She's urging drivers to keep an emergency kit in the car at all times, including blankets, jumper cables, wiper fluid. For those with electric cars, like those found stranded at a charging station at the Evergreen Marketplace.
A majority of people actually are charging their electric vehicles at home.
Did you hear what she said? Listen to what she said. What did she say about the majority of people that have electric vehicles?
A majority of people actually are charging their electric vehicles at home.
Stranded at a charging station at the Evergreen Marketplace.
A majority of people actually are charging their electric vehicles at home. So they do have that overnight time to charge. But if you don't, you do have to go to a charging station. And while there are many, they can't be a distance away.
They found themselves out of battery, out of options. Some waiting 2 hours for a 45-minute charge.
Electric vehicles, the charge does run out a little faster. It actually reduces the temperature or the battery life about 20%.
Of course, safety first, but experts warn to be wary of salt on the road. It could scratch at the paint on your car or corrode the metal underneath. So prepare for a car wash soon.
And I got one more video I want to pull up before we move on, because I just find this funny. So you see that the majority of people here have not had an issue, right? They want to take what happened at 1 or 2 pumps and turn it into like this doom and gloom scenario. Like, oh, see, I told you, it's over. I mean, come on. This is not the experience that most people have. So let's look at this one.
Surprised to hear the cold weather is also impacting electric vehicles. The popularity of the cars paired with drivers depending on charging stations created the perfect storm today, leaving many without their vehicles. NBC5's Charlie Wojciechowski reports.
Been out here for 3 hours.
For Rob Ross, the fancy Mach-E electric vehicle he's trying out has not been worth the trouble it's cost.
Now, he's driving a Mustang Mach-E, so it's not a Tesla. And one thing that y'all have to understand, Tesla superchargers are pretty much like the best in the business. Like, when it comes to charging, they're basically the best. They give you the fastest, for the most part, most convenient charging. There could be an exception here and there. There's a few of them that are fast, but generally, when you connect the Tesla supercharger, it's going to give you that speed quick. A lot of the other chargers with the other brands, because they don't have the NACS charging standard, right? At least here in America, North America, they don't charge as fast. They just don't charge as fast. Like, for instance, in the Tesla, you could get like 200 something miles of range in like 15 minutes. 15 minutes, not an hour, not 45 minutes. Also, what a lot of people don't understand is they're trying to charge their vehicle up to 100%. And generally, it's not advised at superchargers to charge up to 100% unless you absolutely need to with the range to make it to your destination, right? You're supposed to charge between 30 and 80%. Again, it's a different mindset than just putting gas in your car and filling the tank all the way up. So they're sitting here on a sunny day. Let me just break this down. On a sunny day, right? Warm, sunny day. You'll still sit there for like an hour trying to top your thing all the way up. And a lot of times when it comes to supercharging, they'll charge you extra to do that because that's not what you're doing. You're just sitting there hogging a supercharger. So you got a lot of non-educated EV drivers out here who think they understand how this works, and they're sadly mistaken. They don't. I mean, you know, if you get into this, you need to think about your vehicle and everything. But anyway, let's go.
I had the tow truck to bring me here this morning. I was at 5 people in front of me. Sat here, my vehicle was like almost on empty, no charge. We got people sitting in line right now who actually, their charge, the EV is actually disabled because they can't even make it pull up to the machine.
And the charging stations at this Evergreen Park public charging port are full, so full that some EVs ran out of juice before they could get to the machines.
It's terrible. It's like I could be out there, be driving and everything in the cold, but instead I gotta wait.
Now, you can tell this guy right here just sounds like an Uber driver to me. He sounds like a rideshare, Uber or Lyft or whatever rideshare company he does. He's like, I could be out there driving. His mindset was that it was Martin Luther King weekend, right? Y'all know this when it happened, January 14th, 15th, and then we was off on Monday the 16th, right? Or what have you, or whatever the dates. You know what I'm trying to say? We were off. I'm sorry. The 13th was Saturday, and then the 14th was Sunday, and then Martin Luther King Day was on the 15th. But like that weekend was a holiday weekend. So most of these ride share drivers, because you see it says Gary Green, he's leasing an EV. That means he most likely probably got that EV through the Uber deal, the Lyft deal, where they were giving you a bunch of EVs. So he think I could be out there driving right now. That's what he's saying. He's just trying to stay out on the road and try to make money during the holiday because it's extra time. And sometimes being greedy can cost you. And this is a tough lesson for individuals like himself to learn. Like, you don't need to be out there. You see it's -31 right there. Like, what are you doing out here transporting people around, trying to get a bunch of money And when your vehicle you need to be off the road. And see, these are the dudes that just stay on the road driving EVs. And I get it. That's what they have to do for a living. I get it if that's what you have to do for a living. But you need to have access to charging somewhere, like at a home or somewhere outside of supercharging. If you just depend on that, you're going to get screwed. Right? You never know. Okay, there's many times you go to a busy gas station and the gas station just busy and you sit there for 30 minutes. That might be the difference between you running out of gas. If you wait to come into the gas light come on, or your gas is low, or maybe you try to make it to another gas station and the prices are crazy or something like that, or maybe sometimes the pumps do run out. How many times, let me just say this. How many times have you pumped gas or attempted to pump gas, right? You sat in a line at the gas station, you waited 20 minutes, 30 minutes to find out that the popular gas station that you normally go to runs out of gas, right? You get there, find out the pumps don't work. You're trying to figure out what the delay is. It's because they're out of gas. Or maybe the people was pumping the last bit of gas. So then they're out of gas. You're almost out of gas. And then you're trying to go to another gas station to get gas. But guess what? Everybody and their grandma doing the same thing. Hey, girl. Hey, man, what's up? Everyone's on the phone talking, hey, they out of gas. Guess what? You try to go to a neighboring gas station. You can't get gas because you got to do the same thing and sit there. A lot of times you just have to go back home if you can and wait. If you're able to go home in an EV and you have access to charging at home like you're supposed to, you wouldn't even have to deal with this. So I'm just trying to present these situations. This is not an everyday occurrence like when you have weather this bad. That's not an everyday occurrence where you're going to encounter the gas station running out and you can't go to another gas station. I'm just trying to break this down like a pound, right? Let's go.
And it's a waiting game, it's a waiting game, it's a waiting game, and it's terrible.
Gary and Rob are learning a hard lesson about EVs in the extreme cold.
Yep.
They just don't go as far as they usually do.
Absolutely. In EVs that I've driven, I've seen anywhere from a 10% to a 30% drop, depending on how cold it is. And the colder it gets, the worse that drop is.
Patrick Olson tests EVs and other cars as the editor-in-chief at Carfax.com.
Even when I test them, week in and week out, I have to think ahead about how far am I going to go and how much do I want to risk it.
Making matters worse, EVs take longer to charge the colder it is outside.
And the reason why it takes longer to charge is just basic knowledge. The batteries too aren't preconditioned. Now Tesla, their batteries are preconditioned. I know for a fact, like Tesla's a preconditioned. So for the most part, you pull up to a Tesla supercharger, you're going to get it charged in that same amount of time. The problem is you got a lot of people that didn't precondition or they had their cars just sitting out there and they're cold and it's just a recipe where they like, hey, I'm at the charging station. I'm not about to leave. I'm here. Let me just do this and do that. This is a result of the negligent on the owners more so than any cons with the vehicles. So listen to this guy.
You have to come up here, wait 2 hours to get on the charger.
See, again, another Uber driver. It said Marcus Campbell. He leases the EV, right? All of these people leasing EVs are Uber and Lyft drivers. They have nowhere to charge at home. That's a part of the problem. Because if they was charging at home, they wouldn't have to deal with that. Let me tell you something. You stop at home, instead of you sitting up there waiting, your vehicle's warm, you're warm, and you're able to top off and charge in a matter of an hour or 2 to 3 hours, and you can get back out there in the road for the most part. Couple of hours max, and you're back out on the road. That's it. But see, these dudes lease. I'm pretty sure they stay in an apartment. I don't know if they have a house. I don't know if they have a condo. They in Chicago. They probably don't have anywhere to charge at home. And that's a part of the problem. That's a hard lesson for them to learn.
They tell you the chargers are fast. It takes 2 hours to charge your car.
And then also, what they're trying to do is it does not take 2 hours to charge your car. They're trying to go from whatever percentage they at, 10%, 5%, all the way up to 100. That's when you add an extra hour potentially or more into charging, because you're not supposed to charge past 80%, depending on your battery that you have. And for most EVs, all you need to do is get up to 80%. It goes from 30 to 80% like super fast. But they're trying to charge to 100%, so they just sitting there hogging it 100. Meanwhile, because somebody's lack of knowledge and ignorance, they're keeping another EV from actually coming in there and getting the percentage they need. So this is a whole issue of education, and not so much that EVs are bad. When people understand you don't do like you do with a gas vehicle and fill it up, and what they've been used to is maybe not that many people being out on the road needing to pull up. But then during a storm, everybody's trying to pull up because they all out there. And now you're dealing with a traffic jam. That's what the news is not actually telling you, right? They ain't telling you that about EVs.
So here in this Evergreen Park parking lot with temperatures in the single digits, there are dozens of EVs sitting in the cold, waiting for a chance to be charged. Bob Ross is reconsidering the idea of owning one.
My conclusion is, as far as the drive and everything is real nice, but not Chicago. Not Chicago. I couldn't do it.
In Evergreen Park, Charlie Wojciechowski.
So yeah, this is a case of a lack of knowledge. And so why am I educating you all on this stuff? Because people need to understand this, right? This is the same knowledge that they're getting stuck in their cars and they had to get their cars towed. But this affects our ability to move in society, right? Now, I'm not just talking about our vehicles. This knowledge, this lack of knowledge. And that's exactly what has been taking place here, right? So now I want to talk about this nuclear plant water for those of you that stay here. All right, let's get this on the screen because this is serious.
Will County is waiting for the frozen Kankakee River to thaw out, but it'll be days before this natural ice dam disappears.
It's been causing flooding concerns for people who live along the river. CBS 2's Noel Brennan is in Will County talking to emergency officials about the tool they're using to help break up the ice.
The Kankakee River is unrecognizable. It is jam-packed with ice chunks, just like this one. And this is one of the smaller ones. Right now, there's a flash flood watch in effect, and Will County is warning residents who live in low-lying areas that they should be ready to evacuate with short notice.
All right, so y'all hear this. We're going to end up hearing about floods when this actually thaws out. Did anybody stop to think about how serious this is? Y'all, we got potential earthquakes and floods hitting Chicago. But everybody's worried about what Cat Williams is going to say or what Kelly Price is going to say, right? Or what's happening with Lil Nas X. And yeah, I cover a lot of these stories, but I'm just saying this is the main concerns, or what the brick lady's going to do, or what some other crazy, entertaining, distracting situation. But no one's talking about this issue, right? Y'all see how serious this is? We got potential floods and earthquakes about to hit Chicago. I don't care if they're frost quakes or not. I already went into the whole earthquake, frost quake thing. And now we got floods. Mind you, we got nuclear plant water. Let's go.
It does do some magical things out here, like frosting the trees and creating whiteout conditions for us.
Wilmington looks out of this world. Water, steam, and ice collide to create a fluid situation for Allison Anderson.
So we have all assets in place right now.
The director of the Will County Emergency Management Agency is keeping a close eye on the Kankakee River. It's jam-packed with ice after days of frigid temperatures.
All this ice is just stacking on top of each other and basically building bricks on top of each other, like a big Lego set.
She says the river has risen to a record level.
And the water's not able to flow through, which is pooling, and the water needs to go somewhere. So it's backing up into homes.
Homes like ones in Phelan Acres, where fingers of the river have bloated into backyards.
And this is
Okay, just stop and think, y'all. I don't think, when this hits the news, then you're going to have other content creators going to try to jump on this bandwagon, right? Let me break this down. They're talking about the river waters that are frozen are in people's backyards. So if you have a garden, if you have anything healthy in your own yard, you got the river waters there. Well, you say, well, what's the big deal? It's just water. Besides the potential drowning aspect and the potential flooding aspect, okay? Listen to how they're going to try to combat this issue with nuclear plant water. This is crazy, man.
Our primary area that has gotten impacted by the ice jam flooding.
The county hopes the source of this steam can help solve the problem.
We turned this on at 10:49 this morning.
Will County EMA is siphoning water from the Dresden Generating Station cooling lake.
Water then comes down these black pipes here underground and right out into the river.
Now here's something too. They said they're siphoning water from this cooling station, right? This station right here. They're siphoning water from a nuclear plant. This is a double-edged sword, because what happens if they run out of this water? How are we going to power the nuclear plant, right? And everybody sit up here distracted, laughing, talk about, ha, you stupid EVs. That's what y'all get. Y'all ran out of power. Ha, 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 ha. Well, what's going to happen if your whole city runs out of power? What happens if they're siphoning that water? What happens if something goes wrong? What happens if they run out of the water? What happens if that supply or something gets altered to it? We are having this weather come back in, right? What's going to happen? Nobody talking about this, right? Ain't no content creator talking about this. I already went on YouTube. I showed you the list, right? And if they start talking about it, it's because they're watching yours truly. They're not going to give me the credit for it. They're not going to give me the shout out, but they'll cover it and take all the clicks and all the views, right? I mean, the word needs to get out anyway, but I'm just saying that's what they'll do. No one's talking about this. What happens if that supply runs out and then we can't keep the nuclear power plant running the way it is? So now you have a potential nuclear power plant issue. You have a potential frost quakes, earthquakes, and you got flooding. We got all three of these things potentially about to hit Chicago, and or is hitting Chicago. And they could spin this any which way if anything were to happen, right? Even if there's nothing that happens to the lives of people directly, the particular dynamics of the places that they have to go to, come and go, their homes, workplace, schools, stores, commerce. This is a lot that's being faced at one time. And I want y'all to pay attention to it, because no one seems to care. No one really seems like it's a big deal. And all they care about is the latest gossip. So like I said, all you people sitting up here laughing at these EVs running out of power, what happens if your home runs out of power? It's not going to matter whether you have a gas vehicle or not, right? Who's going to be laughing then? You still think it's funny? It just trips me out. And I understand people may lack certain education and knowledge on things, right? Like these EV drivers, they just don't get it. These Uber and Lyft drivers, nobody educated them because they didn't buy it from no dealership. They got it from like Hertz. They buy, from Uber. They got these programs, and so they just end up getting a car. They're not being educated on range and temperature and what to do. So they just out here driving. Yeah, I'm just gonna charge it up, making that money. Yeah, I'm driving, charge it. They're not educated on the dynamics until something happens. Well, I'm out here trying to educate y'all, because what's going to happen if something were to happen in there? We got a lot of stuff that can happen to a lot of people that's not already or maybe already taking place in Chicago, and they could just blame it as whatever. Let's go.
Black pipes here underground and right out into the river.
Water used to cool the nuclear power plant is warm enough to melt ice.
It helps. It doesn't prevent ice jams. It doesn't completely take them away. It's just one of the mitigation tools that we can use to try and help expedite the process.
Now you heard what she said. It doesn't alleviate the problem. Pay attention to what she said, y'all. Just listen to what she said.
The plant is warm enough to melt ice.
It helps. It doesn't prevent ice jams. It doesn't completely take them away.
Melt ice.
It helps. It doesn't prevent ice jams. It doesn't completely take them away.
Melt ice.
It helps. It doesn't prevent ice jams. It doesn't completely take them away. It's just one of the mitigation tools that we can use to try and help expedite the process.
and says it could be a day or two before any noticeable difference on the river.
Ideally, the siphon works best when we have warm atmospheric temperatures.
Until Mother Nature warms things up, the situation in Wilmington will be frozen and fluid.
Now, check this out. The whole river, all this stuff is just frozen, y'all. Just look at this. These are what you could say, like, doomsday type conditions. Now, I know a lot of northerners like, we'll come outside no matter what it is. I don't care what it is. We're coming on out. What happens if something happens with the power? What happens if something happens with the water supply? Right? So while everybody again is, ha ha ha, look at you little stupid EVs. What happens if you're out of water? What happens if you're out of power? You ain't gonna be worried about no electric vehicles, right? What happens if the ground is shaking with all this stuff? And we have more. There's some serious conditions that are going on right now that haven't taken place before. And so I just kind of wanted to point this out to y'all and let y'all see. And then what if there's some issue with the nuclear plant? Something gets contaminated, right? You're literally using and siphoning off what's supposed to go to the nuclear plant. What happens if something gets contaminated with the pipes? Or what if a pipe breaks? Or there's all types of scenarios that could take place. But again, what if something gets contaminated? Then you've got the river here. You've got all of these things that are running into the backyards of the residents here and probably other places. What happens if that gets contaminated? This is crazy, man. This is absolutely crazy. So I kind of wanted to bring this up and bring attention to this because I don't think a lot of people are thinking about this. Okay? This is a real serious thing that we're looking at. This is a real serious thing. What if this actually takes? And this is not a too far-fetched of a scenario. I think people need to get real and pay attention to what's going on. Pay attention to the weather, pay attention to some other things as opposed to just focusing on celebrity news, because that's old, right? That's just a distraction. I know people are going to do what they want to do, but we need to pay attention to the rivers in our lives. What is flowing? What is not flowing right now? And what is frozen? And what can we do about it? What is shaking our foundation with the frost quakes? What do we have that's going on or not going on that we need to pay attention to? Where are we hearing frost quake pops at? Is it the roof? Is there something above us, below us, behind us, around us? What in your life do you need to pay attention to? Because there's another round of this coming in to get your attention again if you're not paying attention. What batteries do you need to charge up or gain knowledge on to make sure you don't run out of battery power with particular relationships that you're in and particular jobs you're working in, particular ventures you're doing and things you're putting your time and your energy into? What is taking 2 hours for you just to get a little charge in something you are doing? Is it out of a relationship that's not working for you? Is it a job that's not working for you? We need to pay attention to all of this. This is the deeper issue and the deeper message here versus just sitting up here paying attention to all this gossip and the celebrity stuff. There's a lot more that I have to talk about, and I will. I may even be back in a couple of hours. It depends on how I feel. I just wanted to break this to you all because I don't see anyone talking about it. It seems like I'm the only one talking about it. I really don't know why. I really don't know why. I mean, I showed this before. If you look here on YouTube, you can see, if you look here on YouTube, right, other than these news outlets here, there's really no one talking about what's going on in terms of content creators. It's just news outlets, right? You know, it is what it is. It is what it is. This is what we facing, y'all. This is what we facing. This is crazy. And don't think that just because this is happening in Chicago that it can't happen where you are in your neighborhood. I'm telling you, man, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So, hey, it is what it is. I said enough. I'm about to go ahead and rock on out here. For those of you that are new, thank you so much for watching and listening. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. Make sure you hit the like button. Please share, not just this video, but any video that resonates with you that I have on my channel. Okay? Please share that with your friends, with your family, in your social media groups, right? A lot of y'all are on social media, TikTok and Instagram and all that stuff. Share my content, share my video. Let that be a topic of discussion. This is some serious business going on. And right now, I seem to be the only content creator that's covering this. Okay, I've covered a lot of stuff. I'll put this on the screen just so that y'all can see. I've covered a lot of stuff here. Obviously, this is what I'm covering now. I've talked about Lil Nas X and Lecrae and Kelly Price and Angela Bassett and Eddie Griffin and Jonathan Majors, and I talk about a lot of stuff. Swag surfing in church, and y'all know how it goes. I talk about this, but I don't get the views that a lot of other content creators get, but I still talk about it. I've been talking about stuff for a while, and I will continue to do it as the Most High leads me. But for now, for the Windy City, y'all stay safe. I hope y'all good. Tammy, thank you for your comment. All of you. Again, please like, comment, subscribe. Hit that PayPal, Cash App, and Venmo. Book your life coaching appointment, whether it's for you, your friends, your family, your coworkers, your neighbors, classmates, etc. Video chat, video recordings, meaning they send questions, I send answers in the video, phone conversations, and in person if you're in the ATL. All right. Well, for now, I'm about to get out of here. Thank y'all so much, and stay tuned. I'll probably do another live one in a little bit. All right, but for now, I'm out.